Admiral Kwon Do-hyun stood on the bridge of the orbital station New Seoul, watching the stars through the massive viewing window. The station floated high above Earth, its metal corridors buzzing with activity. Kwon had spent 20 years in space, but he had never seen anything like what was happening now. "Sir, we're getting reports from all our outer sensors," said Captain Lee Min-ho, hurrying onto the bridge. His face was pale and sweat dripped from his forehead. "There are ships coming." "Lots of them." Kwon turned to face the younger officer. Lee commanded the exploration ship Busan's Pride, one of the fastest vessels in the human fleet. If Lee looked worried, then the situation was bad. "How many ships?" Kwon asked. "Thousands, sir. Maybe more. They're coming from every direction around our solar system." Dr. Park Ji-woo entered the bridge carrying a tablet full of data. She was the best alien expert Earth had, even though humans had never actually met any aliens before. "Admiral, I've been studying the sensor readings. These ships don't match any design we know. They're definitely not human." Kwon felt his stomach drop. For years, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and it didn't look good. "Put me through to Earth Command," Kwon ordered. The main screen flickered to life, showing President Yoon Hae-jin sitting in her office in Seoul. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept in days. "Admiral, I assume you've seen the reports," President Yoon said. "Yes, ma'am." "What are your orders?" "Wait and see what they want, but be ready for anything." 3 hours later, the alien fleet stopped at the edge of the solar system. The ships were massive, some bigger than Earth's largest cities. They formed perfect lines like soldiers waiting for orders. Then the message came. The communication appeared on every screen in the solar system at the same time. It was in perfect human language, which was scary enough. But the content was worse. "People of Earth," the voice said. It sounded like crystal bells ringing. "We are the Galactic Coalition of Advanced Species. You have been watched for some time." On the screen appeared a creature that looked like it was made of living glass. Its body caught light and threw it back in rainbow colors. Behind it stood other aliens, some that looked like floating gas clouds, others covered in scales or fur. "I am Council Speaker Talvin of the Veltari," the crystal being continued. "We have come to deliver an ultimatum. Your species has proven itself violent and dangerous. Your history is filled with wars and destruction. You have killed your own kind for thousands of years." Kwon clenched his fists. The alien was right about human history, but something in its tone made him angry. "Recently, you have begun to spread beyond your home world. You have built colonies on Mars and stations throughout your system. This expansion must stop immediately." The image changed to show massive coalition warships, their weapons glowing with deadly energy. "You have 72 of your hours to make a choice. Submit to coalition authority and accept limits on your development or face the consequences. We have destroyed other dangerous species before. Do not test our resolve." The message ended, leaving the bridge in complete silence. "Sir," Lee said quietly. "What do we do?" Before Kwon could answer, Dr. Park spoke up. "Admiral, there's something strange about this. How do they know so much about us? And why do they speak our language perfectly?" "What do you mean?" Kwon asked. "Think about it. They knew exactly when to show up, just as we were expanding beyond Earth. They know our history in detail, and they translated their message into every human language at once. That's not something you do overnight." Kwon felt a chill run down his spine. "You think they've been watching us for a long time?" "More than that," Dr. Park said, studying her tablet. "I think they've been planning this." The next day, emergency meetings were held on every human world. The Mars colonies wanted to fight. The asteroid miners said they should run. The people on Earth were split between fear and anger. In the meantime, Captain Lee took his ship out to get a closer look at the alien fleet. What he saw made his blood run cold. "Admiral," Lee reported over the radio, "there are at least 5,000 ships out here. Some of them are the size of small moons. I've never seen weapons like these. Any sign they're preparing to attack?" Kwon asked. "No, sir. They're just waiting. But Admiral, there's something else. I'm picking up energy readings from deeper in space. I think there are more ships coming." On Earth, President Yoon met with her advisors. The room was full of generals, scientists, and politicians all arguing about what to do. "We should surrender," said one general. "We can't fight that many ships." "We should try to negotiate," said a diplomat. "Maybe we can find common ground." "We should run," said another voice. "Load up our ships and head for another system." President Yoon listened to them all, but her mind was already made up. She had read the reports from Dr. Kim Soo-min, the head of a secret research project that most people didn't know about. If Dr. Kim was right, then humanity had options the aliens didn't know about. Finally, President Yoon stood up. The room fell silent. "We're not surrendering," she said. "We're not running, and we're not negotiating with bullies." "But ma'am," one advisor protested, "they have thousands of ships." "So do we," President Yoon replied. "The aliens just don't know it yet." That evening, she recorded a message that would be broadcast to the entire galaxy. "To the Galactic Coalition," she began, looking directly into the camera. "You came to our home uninvited. You threatened our people. You gave us an ultimatum based on your fear of what we might become." She paused, letting her words sink in. "You claim we are violent and dangerous. You point to our history of war and conflict. But you miss the most important part of that history. Every time someone threatened innocent people, humans stood up to fight them. Every time a bully thought they could take what wasn't theirs, we proved them wrong." President Yoon leaned forward. "You wanted to see why humans are dangerous. You declared war on the wrong species. Now we'll show you why that was a mistake." The message was broadcast on all frequencies, reaching every ship in the Coalition fleet and every world in their empire. On the bridge of New Seoul Station, Admiral Kwan watched the alien ships and smiled for the first time in days. "Signal all ships," he ordered. "Begin Operation Prometheus." The war was about to begin, and the galaxy had no idea what humanity was capable of. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility that didn't exist on any official map, Dr. Kim Soo-min walked through corridors that shouldn't have been possible. The walls were smooth as glass but stronger than diamond, glowing with a soft blue light that had been shining for over 300 years. "Sir, the President is asking for you," said her assistant, Engineer Oh Tae-young. He had been working with the strange technology for 5 years, but he still looked amazed every time he entered the facility. Dr. Kim nodded and made her way to the communication room. On the screen, President Yoon waited with Admiral Kwan and Dr. Park. "Doctor," President Yoon said, "it's time to tell them about Prometheus." Dr. Kim took a deep breath. She had kept this secret for most of her adult life. "Admiral Dr. Park, what I'm about to show you will change everything you think you know about humanity's place in the universe." The screen changed to show images of a massive crash site on the ocean floor. Twisted metal and strange materials were scattered across the seabed, covered by centuries of sand and coral. In 1952, a deep-sea fishing boat found something impossible. Dr. Kim began. A crashed ship, bigger than anything humans had ever built. The materials were unknown. The design was unlike anything we had ever seen. But the strangest part was that it had been there for thousands of years. Dr. Park leaned forward, studying the images. "Why wasn't this made public?" "Because of what we found inside," Dr. Kim replied. The screen showed the interior of the crashed ship. Everything was covered in symbols that seemed to shift and change as you looked at them. "We found bodies, but they weren't like any life form we knew. More importantly, we found their computers." Engineer O stepped forward. "The technology was beyond anything we could understand. But somehow human minds could interface with it. We could make it work even though we didn't know how." Admiral Kwan felt his pulse quicken. "Interface how?" "Direct neural connection," Dr. Kim explained. "When a human touches the control systems, they respond. We can operate their computers, understand their databases, even control their machines. No other species we've tested can do this." The screen showed video of human technicians working with alien equipment. Their hands glowed with the same blue light as the walls, and complex holographic displays appeared around them. "What species built this ship?" Dr. Park asked. "They called themselves the Architects," Dr. Kim said. "According to their records, they were the first intelligent species in this galaxy. They built a vast civilization that lasted for millions of years. But something happened to them. Something that scared them so much that they prepared for their own extinction." The screen changed to show star maps covered in red markers. The Architects left emergency protocols throughout the galaxy. Hidden facilities, automated defense systems, and seed worlds where compatible species might evolve. Admiral Kwan stared at the display. "Seed worlds? Earth is one of them," Dr. Kim said quietly. "The Architects didn't just crash here by accident. They chose this planet specifically. They guided human evolution to make sure we would be compatible with their technology. The implications hit everyone at once. Humans weren't just lucky to survive and thrive on Earth, they were designed for it. There's more, Engineer O said. He brought up new images showing construction projects around the solar system. For the past 50 years, we've been using architect technology to build hidden defenses. The moon isn't just a natural satellite anymore. The screen showed Luna's surface opening like a flower, revealing massive weapon arrays and shipyards that had been built inside the moon itself. Mars has been hollowed out and converted into a fortress, O continued. The asteroid belt has been turned into an automated defense network. Every planet in our system has architect technology hidden beneath the surface. Dr. Park looked shocked. How many people know about this? Less than 1,000, President Yoon answered. We couldn't risk the information getting out. If other species learned about architect technology, they would either try to steal it or destroy us to prevent us from using it. Speaking of other species, Dr. Kim said, her expression darkening. I've been studying the Coalition's communication signals. There's something disturbing about their timing. She brought up analysis charts showing signal patterns and energy signatures. The Coalition didn't just happen to arrive now. They've been monitoring our system for decades, waiting for us to reach a certain level of development. Admiral Kwan studied the data. You think they know about the architect technology? I'm certain of it, Dr. Kim replied. Look at this. The screen showed intercepted Coalition communications translated into human language. They're not here to stop human expansion. They're here to claim the architect ruins for themselves. The room fell silent as the truth sank in. The Coalition hadn't come to contain humanity. They had come to steal from them. There's something else, Dr. Kim continued. According to architect records, Earth isn't the only seed world. There were dozens of them throughout the galaxy. But when I checked the current star charts against the architect database, most of those worlds are empty now. Empty how? Dr. Park asked. No intelligent life. No advanced civilizations. No trace that complex societies ever existed there. Dr. Kim's voice was grim. I think the Coalition has been systematically destroying every species that shows compatibility with architect technology. Engineer O pulled up more data. The timeline matches. Every few thousand years, the Coalition launches peacekeeping missions against dangerous species. The official records say these species threatened galactic stability. But the real reason was that they were all architect compatible. Admiral Kwan felt anger building in his chest. They've been committing genocide for millennia. And now it's our turn, President Yoon said. But they made one mistake. They gave us 72 hours to prepare. Dr. Kim smiled for the first time since the conversation began. The Prometheus protocol is ready. Every hidden facility is coming online. The architect defense systems are waking up after sleeping for thousands of years. On the screen, images showed installations throughout the solar system powering up. Ancient machines that had waited patiently for their new operators were finally being activated. How many ships do we actually have? Admiral Kwan asked. More than the Coalition realizes, Engineer O replied. The shipyards inside Mars have been working for decades. Luna's production facilities can build a destroyer in 6 hours. The asteroid belt can manufacture weapons and fighters faster than any known facility in the galaxy. But the real advantage, Dr. Kim added, is that our ships don't work like normal spacecraft. Architect technology doesn't follow the same rules as conventional physics. Our vessels can accelerate instantly, phase through solid matter, and adapt their defenses in real time. Dr. Park shook her head in amazement. The Coalition has no idea what they're facing. They think they're fighting primitive humans with crude rockets, President Yoon said. They're about to discover they declared war on the heirs of the most advanced civilization in galactic history. Admiral Kwan stood up, his mind already planning the defense of humanity. How long before all systems are online? 12 hours, Dr. Kim replied. By the time the Coalition's ultimatum expires, every architect facility in the solar system will be operational. Then we have work to do, Admiral Kwan said. Signal all ship commanders. Operation Prometheus is a go. It's time to show the galaxy what humans are really capable of. As the meeting ended, Dr. Kim looked at the display showing the Coalition fleet waiting at the edge of the solar system. They had no idea that they weren't facing a young, primitive species. They were about to fight the chosen inheritors of technology that predated their civilization by millions of years. The Coalition had started this war, but humanity was going to finish it. Pilot Jang Hyun-woo strapped himself into the cockpit of his fighter, the Soul Lightning. From the outside, it looked like a normal human spacecraft. Sleek metal hull, standard engines, conventional weapons. But Yang knew better. Beneath the ordinary exterior, architect technology hummed with deadly power. "All pilots, this is Admiral Kwan," came the voice through his helmet radio. "The Coalition fleet is moving into attack formation. Operation Prometheus is now active. Show them what we're made of." Around him, thousands of other human pilots prepared for launch from hidden bays throughout the solar system. Most of them had trained for years without knowing the true nature of their ships. Today they would finally understand what they were flying. Soul Lightning. "You are cleared for launch," said the control tower. Jiang pushed the throttle forward, and his ship shot out of the lunar base like a bullet. But instead of the gradual acceleration he expected, the fighter moved instantly to maximum speed. The G-forces that should have crushed him were absorbed by the architect systems, making the impossible flight feel as smooth as a gentle breeze. "Holy," Jiang whispered, then caught himself. "Control, this is Lightning. Something's different about my ship." "Roger that, Lightning. Your architect systems are now fully active. You'll find your vessel can do things that normal fighters cannot." Across the solar system, similar conversations were happening as human pilots discovered their ship's true capabilities. Commander Shin Boram, leading a squadron from the Mars orbital shipyards, watched in amazement as her cruiser's hull began to shift and adapt. "Ma'am," called her navigation officer, "the ship is changing. The armor is getting thicker and new weapon ports are opening." "That's the architect adaptive technology," Shin replied, trying to sound calm even though her heart was racing. "Our ships learn from their environment and modify themselves for optimal performance." On the bridge of New Seoul Station, Admiral Kwan watched his fleet deploy. What had looked like a small collection of human vessels suddenly revealed itself as something much more impressive. Ships that had been hidden inside asteroids emerged, their hulls gleaming with architect modifications. The moon's surface split open, releasing waves of fighters and bombers that had been built in secret factories. "Sir," reported Captain Lee Minho from his position near the Coalition fleet, "they're reacting to our ships. I think they're confused by what they're seeing." On the Coalition command ship, Council Speaker Talvin stared at the displays showing human forces. "What is this?" "Our intelligence said the humans had only a few hundred primitive vessels." "Sir," reported a Quenthok officer, his gas cloud body swirling with agitation, "we're detecting energy signatures that don't match any known technology. These ships are not what they appear to be." War Master Zeknul, a reptilian creature covered in scales, studied the tactical displays. "The humans are deploying from hidden positions throughout their system. How did we miss so many ships?" "More importantly," Talvin said, his crystal body flashing with worried colors, "what is that energy we're detecting? It feels familiar." Before anyone could answer, the human fleet reached engagement range. Jang Hyun-woo was among the first to test his weapons against Coalition forces. Lightning to all fighters. "I'm going in," he announced, diving toward a Coalition destroyer. The enemy ship's shields flared to life, a blue barrier that should have been impenetrable to human weapons. But when Zhang fired his phase cannons, the energy beams passed right through the shields as if they weren't there. "Impossible," came shouts from the Coalition ship as Zhang's weapons tore through their hull like paper. "Lightning to control," Zhang reported, hardly believing what he had just done. "Direct hit on enemy destroyer." "Their shields couldn't stop our weapons." "Confirmed, Lightning. That's architect phasing technology. Their weapons can shift between dimensions to bypass conventional defenses." Across the battle zone, similar scenes played out as human ships demonstrated capabilities that defied everything the Coalition knew about warfare. Commander Shin's cruiser took direct hits from Coalition energy cannons, but instead of exploding, the ship's hull simply absorbed the energy and grew stronger. "Their weapons are feeding our shields," Shin's tactical officer reported in amazement. "Every time they shoot us, we get more powerful." "Adaptive defense systems," Shin explained. "The architects built their ships to learn from enemy attacks and become immune to them." Dr. Park Ji-woo, monitoring the battle from her research station, made a discovery that changed everything. She had been analyzing Coalition communication signals when she noticed something strange. "Admiral," she called Kwan urgently, "I've broken their encryption. You need to hear this." The translation of Coalition battle chatter appeared on Kwan's screen. "The humans have architect technology. How is this possible? Our scan indicated this world had ruins, but we thought they were inactive." If the humans can use architect systems, we must destroy them immediately. Signal command. Tell them we found another architect-compatible species. Admiral Kwan felt his blood turn cold. Dr. Park, are you sure about this translation? Positive, sir. They know about the architects. They've known all along. More translated messages flooded in. This cannot be allowed. If word spreads that architect technology still works, other species will search for it. We must eliminate all witnesses. No one can know we failed to control this system. Execute sterilization protocol. Destroy all human worlds. The true scope of the Coalition's plan became clear. They hadn't come just to conquer humanity. They had come to commit complete genocide. All ships, Admiral Kwan broadcast on every frequency. New intelligence confirms the Coalition intends to exterminate our entire species. This is no longer about territory or politics. This is about survival. The revelation energized the human forces. Pilot Yang pushed his fighter beyond its limits, discovering that the architect systems responded to his emotions and determination. His ship became faster, stronger, more agile as his resolve hardened. Soul lightning to all fighters, he called out. These aliens want to wipe us out completely. Show them why that was a mistake. The battle turned into a demonstration of everything that made humans dangerous. When Coalition forces expected them to retreat, human ships charged forward. When the aliens thought superior numbers would overwhelm them, human pilots found ways to turn the odds around. Captain Lee Min-ho led a daring raid on a Coalition supply convoy, using his ship's ability to phase through solid matter to appear inside enemy formations. This is Busan's pride, he reported. I'm inside their defensive perimeter. Their ships can't turn fast enough to track me. His ship materialized inside a Coalition battleship's hangar bay, causing chaos as the enemy scrambled to respond to a threat that had appeared from nowhere. Meanwhile, Engineer Oh Tae-young was making his own discoveries at the Lunar Defense Station. Admiral, the architect systems are learning from this battle. They're upgrading our weapons in real time, making them more effective against Coalition technology. How is that possible? Kwan asked. The architects designed their technology to evolve, Oh explained. Every time we fight, the systems get smarter. They're analyzing Coalition weaknesses and adapting our weapons to exploit them. As the battle continued, it became clear that the Coalition had made a fundamental error in judgment. They had expected to face primitive humans with simple weapons. Instead, they found themselves fighting an enemy that could match their technology and exceed their tactical flexibility. Sir, called a Coalition officer, we're losing ships faster than predicted. Human vessels are demonstrating capabilities that shouldn't exist. War Master Zeknal watched another of his destroyers explode under human fire. How are they doing this? Our intelligence said they were barely capable of spaceflight. The energy signatures are definitely architect origin, reported the ship's science officer. But that's impossible. The architects have been extinct for millions of years. Not extinct, Talvin said quietly, understanding dawning in his crystal mind. Hidden. They prepared for this day. They chose the humans as their successors. The realization that humanity was fighting with technology from the galaxy's most advanced civilization sent waves of panic through the Coalition fleet. Ships that had seemed invincible moments before now faced an enemy that could match them in every way. And the humans were just getting started. Intelligence Officer Nam Yunji sat in the captured Coalition command ship, her fingers dancing across alien control panels that now responded to her touch as if she had been born to use them. The architect technology in her neural implant translated the Coalition's database faster than any computer could process it. What she found made her sick to her stomach. Admiral, she called through the communication system, you need to see this immediately. On the bridge of New Seoul Station, Admiral Kwon Do-hyun paused in coordinating the battle to answer her call. Around him, tactical displays showed human forces pushing deeper into Coalition formations, their architect-enhanced ships proving superior to anything the aliens could field. What have you found, Nam? Kwon asked. Sir, the Coalition's database contains records going back 50,000 years. They haven't just been maintaining galactic peace. They've been systematically hunting down and destroying every species that shows compatibility with architect technology. The screen filled with data files, each one documenting the extinction of an entire civilization, species after species all eliminated under various pretexts. labeled as too aggressive, too dangerous, too unstable for galactic society. Look at this, Nam continued, her voice shaking with anger. The Cathari were destroyed 3,000 years ago. Official reason, they were developing dangerous weapons. Real reason, they could interface with architect computers. More files appeared. The Moltag civilization wiped out 5,000 years ago. Official reason, they refused to join the coalition peacefully. Real reason, they had built ships using architect blueprints. Dr. Kim Suman, monitoring from the Pacific facility, felt her blood run cold as she recognized patterns in the data. Nam, search for references to seed worlds or compatible evolution. The results were horrifying. Every species the coalition had destroyed had evolved on worlds that contained architect ruins. Every extinct civilization had shown the same neural compatibility with architect technology that humans possessed. They've been committing genocide for millennia. Dr. Park Jiwoo said from her research station. Any species that might challenge their authority gets eliminated. President Yoon Hae-jin joined the communication link from Earth. How many species have they destroyed? Nam scrolled through endless files. At least 47 confirmed extinctions. Probably more that aren't documented. Sir, some of these civilizations were more advanced than humanity when they were destroyed. The coalition didn't care about their development level. If they could use architect technology, they had to die. Admiral Kwan felt rage building in his chest. Are there any survivors from these species? Unknown, sir. But there's something else. The coalition has been searching for the main architect archive for thousands of years. They believe it contains the location of every seed world and details about the threat that originally drove the architects. To create their defense network, Dr. Kim's voice came through the communication channel, tense with new understanding. The threat is still out there, isn't it? That's why the architects prepared successor species. They knew something was coming that even they couldn't defeat. Nam found the relevant files and felt her heart skip a beat. According to these records, the architects detected signals from outside the galaxy, approximately 2 million years ago. Something massive was approaching, something that had already consumed other galaxies. The screen showed astronomical data that made everyone pause. Energy signatures indicating structures the size of solar systems, moving between galaxies and leaving empty space in their wake. The devourers, Nam read from the files. That's what the architects call them. A species or force that consumes all matter and energy in its path. The architects spent their final million years preparing defenses and seeding compatible species throughout the galaxy. Engineer Oh Tae-young, monitoring the battle from Luna, made a connection that changed everything. If the coalition has been destroying architect-compatible species for thousands of years, then when the devourers arrive, there won't be anyone left who can operate the architect defense systems, Dr. Kim finished. The coalition has been weakening the galaxy's only hope of survival. President Yoon felt the full weight of the situation settle on her shoulders. They've doomed the entire galaxy to protect their own power. Ma'am, Nam continued, there's more. The coalition leadership knows about the devourers. They've known for thousands of years. Their plan is to gather all architect technology under their control and use it to protect only their core worlds when the threat arrives. Admiral Kwan studied the battle displays, watching coalition ships retreat in disorder as human forces pressed their advantage. They're not trying to save the galaxy. They're trying to save themselves. And they're willing to let billions of other species die to do it, Dr. Park added. The revelation transformed the nature of the conflict. This wasn't just about human survival anymore. It was about preventing a cosmic catastrophe that the coalition's actions had made inevitable. Nam, how long do we have before the devourers arrive? Kwan asked. According to architect projections, somewhere between 50 and 200 years. The signals have been getting stronger over the past decade. Commander Shin Boram's voice crackled through the communication system from her position in the outer battle zone. Admiral, we've captured several coalition officers. They're requesting to surrender. Bring them to New Sol Station, Kwan ordered. We need to interrogate them about their knowledge of the devourer threat. As coalition forces continued to retreat throughout the solar system, human ships pursued them with determination, born of righteous anger. Pilot Jang Hyun-woo led a squadron that captured an entire coalition supply fleet, their architect-enhanced fighters proving too fast and maneuverable for enemy defenses. Sol Lightning to control, Jang reported. We've secured the supply convoy. These ships are loaded with weapons and equipment stolen from destroyed civilizations. The evidence of Coalition crimes continued to mount. Captain Lee Min-ho discovered Coalition ships carrying artifacts and technology from dozens of extinct species. Busan's pride to Admiral, he reported. They've been looting the ruins of everyone they've killed. Dr. Kim made another disturbing discovery while analyzing the captured data. The Coalition has been deliberately slowing galactic technological development. They've suppressed research into architect technology, prevented species from sharing knowledge, and eliminated anyone who got too close to understanding the real threat. They've kept the galaxy weak and divided, President Yoon realized. When the devourers arrive, most species won't even know what's happening until it's too late. Nam found confirmation of this in the Coalition's strategic planning documents. They call it the Preservation Protocol. Keep other species primitive and dependent while they gather all advanced technology for themselves. The scope of the Coalition's crimes was staggering. Not only had they committed genocide against dozens of species, they had actively weakened the galaxy's ability to defend itself against an existential threat. Admiral, called Engineer O from the lunar station, the architect defense systems are fully online now, but according to these readings, we only have about 30% of the network that originally existed. Destroyed by the Coalition over the millennia, Dr. Kim confirmed. They've been systematically dismantling architect installations to prevent other species from finding them. Admiral Kwan looked at the tactical display showing Coalition forces in full retreat. Their superior numbers meant nothing against architect technology operated by a species that refused to give up. Signal all human forces, he ordered. The Coalition fleet is broken. Now we need to capture their leadership and find out everything they know about the devourer threat. Sir, Nam reported. I'm detecting Coalition reinforcements approaching from outside the system. Looks like they're calling in fleets from across their territory. How many ships? Kwan asked. Thousands more, sir. Maybe tens of thousands. Instead of feeling daunted, Admiral Kwan smiled grimly. Good. That means we'll have the chance to capture more of their leadership and gather more intelligence. President Yoon understood what he meant. The Coalition just gave us the opportunity to cripple their entire military structure in one battle, and rescue any surviving architect-compatible species they might have missed. Dr. Park added, as human forces prepared for the larger battle to come, they knew they were fighting for more than just their own survival. They were fighting to save a galaxy that didn't even know it was in danger from an enemy, that had been weakening its defenses for thousands of years. The Coalition had started this war to eliminate another architect-compatible species. Instead, they had awakened humanity to its true purpose as the galaxy's last hope for survival against an ancient and terrible threat. President Yoon Hae-jin stood before the galactic communication array, knowing that her next words would be heard on every inhabited world in the galaxy. Behind her, the captured Coalition leadership sat in restraints, their faces showing the defeat of a plan that had taken thousands of years to build. Citizens of the galaxy, she began, her voice carrying across space to billions of beings. I am President Yoon of Earth, speaking for the human species. Today we must tell you the truth about the Galactic Coalition and the danger that threatens us all. On worlds throughout the galaxy, beings stopped what they were doing to listen. The Coalition's defeat at human hands had sent shockwaves through their territory. But most species didn't understand what it meant. For 50,000 years, the Coalition has maintained peace through a lie, President Yoon continued. They told you they destroyed dangerous species to protect galactic stability. The truth is that they committed genocide against any civilization that could threaten their power. The broadcast showed evidence from the Coalition's own databases. Records of destroyed civilizations, stolen technology, and suppressed development. Species after species eliminated not for being dangerous, but for being capable of independence. The Coalition has been preparing for a threat they never told you about, President Yoon explained. An ancient enemy called the Devourers approaches our galaxy. The original inhabitants, the architects, spent their final years preparing defenses against this threat. But the Coalition has been destroying those defenses for millennia. Dr. Park Ji-woo appeared on screen, explaining the science behind the threat. The Devourers consume entire star systems, converting matter and energy into more of themselves. They have already destroyed at least 3 galaxies, and our galaxy is next on their path. The revelation caused panic on many worlds, But President Yoon's next words offered hope. The architects left us the tools to fight this threat, but only species with neural compatibility can operate their technology. Humanity is one such species, and we believe there are others. We invite all civilizations to join us in preparing for the real war that's coming. Admiral Kwon Do-hyun took over the broadcast from his position aboard the captured Coalition flagship. We have defeated the Coalition fleet, but we're not conquerors. We're offering alliance to any species willing to abandon the old ways of oppression and work together for survival. The response was immediate and overwhelming. On dozens of worlds, species that had been suppressed by Coalition rule rose up against their occupiers. Messages poured in from civilizations eager to learn about architect technology and help prepare for the devourer threat. Captain Lee Min-ho, now commanding a mixed-species crew aboard his ship, reported from the Outer Rim territories. Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from Coalition garrison fleets throughout this sector. Local species are demanding their freedom. Accept their surrenders and offer them alliance, Kwon replied. We need to move fast to prepare defenses before the devourers arrive. Dr. Kim Soo-min worked with teams of alien scientists in the Pacific facility, teaching them to interface with architect technology. To everyone's surprise, several species showed natural compatibility with the ancient systems. The Velkari from the Andromeda sector have excellent neural connectivity, she reported to President Yoon, and the Zeftons show remarkable ability to understand architect programming languages. How is that possible? President Yoon asked. The architects seeded more worlds than we realized, Dr. Kim explained. They hedged their bets by creating multiple compatible species. The Coalition just hunted down most of them before they could develop space travel. Engineer Oh Tae-young led construction teams working around the clock to repair and rebuild architect defense installations throughout human space. With help from newly allied species, the work proceeded faster than anyone had thought possible. Ma'am, Oh reported, we've restored 60% of the original defense network in this sector. The alien engineering teams are incredible. Some of them understand architect technology better than we do. Intelligence Officer Nam Yoon-ji made another crucial discovery while interrogating captured Coalition leaders. President, the Coalition has hidden stockpiles of architect technology on dozens of worlds. They've been hoarding it for thousands of years. Can we recover it? President Yoon asked. Already in progress, ma'am. The local populations are helping us locate and secure the hidden facilities. The transformation of the galaxy happened with remarkable speed. Species that had been enemies for generations found common cause against the devourer threat. Worlds that had been isolated by Coalition policies began sharing technology and knowledge freely. Commander Shin Bo-ram established the first mixed-species training academy on Mars, where beings from dozens of worlds learn to operate architect defense systems together. The diversity is actually helping, she reported. Different species bring different perspectives to the technology. Pilot Jang Hyun-woo flew patrol missions with alien wingmen, his squadron now including beings that had been Coalition enemies just weeks before. Soul lightning to control, he reported. The Kethnari pilots are amazing. They can make architect fighters do things I never imagined. That's because they're descended from the original Kethari civilization the Coalition destroyed, Dr. Park explained. Their ancestors had thousands of years of experience with architect technology before they were nearly wiped out. The galaxy's preparation for the devourer threat accelerated as more species joined the alliance. Ancient architect facilities were discovered and restored on worlds throughout known space. Defense networks that had been dormant for millennia came back to life under the guidance of compatible species. But the most important discovery came when Nam Yoon-ji found the Coalition's ultimate secret in their deepest archives. President, she called urgently, I've found the main architect database. The Coalition has had it for over 10,000 years. The database contained everything: complete technical specifications for architect technology, detailed analysis of the devourer threat, and most importantly, the location of every architect installation in the galaxy. There are hundreds of facilities we didn't know about, Dr. Kim reported after studying the data. Weapons platforms, shipyards, research stations. The Coalition kept them all secret. And now we can activate all of them, President Yoon realized. The process of awakening the galaxy's dormant defenses began immediately. Human teams worked with alien allies to bring online architect installations that had been sleeping for millions of years. Each new facility added to the growing network of protection against the approaching threat. The architects were thorough, Engineer O reported as more installations came online. They built redundancies into every system. Even with everything the Coalition destroyed, we can still mount an effective defense. Admiral Kwan established the Galactic Defense Command, with representatives from every allied species. We're not just preparing to survive the devourer attack, he told the assembled leaders. We're preparing to drive them back and protect future generations. The work continued day and night across hundreds of worlds. Species that had never cooperated before found themselves working side by side, united by the common threat and empowered by architect technology that responded to their shared determination. Sir, Captain Lee reported from a newly discovered architect facility in the Galactic Core, we found something incredible. This installation contains ships the size of moons armed with weapons that can destroy entire fleets. How many ships? Kwan asked. Thousands, Admiral. Maybe tens of thousands. All waiting for crews that can operate them. President Yoon addressed the galaxy once more as the defense preparations neared completion. The Coalition ruled through fear and division. They kept us weak by keeping us apart. But the architects understood something the Coalition never did. Diversity makes us stronger, not weaker. The camera showed images of mixed species crews working together, of former enemies cooperating to save their galaxy, of ancient technology responding to the touch of beings the architects had chosen to inherit their legacy. The devourers destroyed other galaxies because those civilizations faced them alone, President Yoon continued. But they have never faced a galaxy united, armed with architect technology, and determined to protect our home. As if in response to her words, long-range sensors detected the first devourer scouts entering the outer rim of the galaxy. The ancient enemy had finally arrived. All defense stations, Admiral Kwan broadcast across the network. This is Galactic Defense Command. The devourers have entered our galaxy. All units, prepare for the greatest battle in galactic history. Across hundreds of worlds, beings of dozens of species looked up at the stars and smiled grimly. The Coalition had tried to keep them divided and weak. Instead, they had awakened a sleeping giant that would defend not just one species but an entire galaxy. The devourers had consumed 3 galaxies before this one. But they had never faced the heirs of the architects, united in common cause and armed with technology that had waited millions of years for this moment. The real war was about to begin, and for the first time in cosmic history, the defenders were ready.